Hey, top of the day, kids. Today, Malachi's uninformational video of the day will be about the 4.6 engines and the cracked intake manifold. Basically, I ran into this problem. This engine has 95,000 miles on it, 97,000 I think now. And where I was having a problem, this is the PI engine, so performance improved or some kind of crap like that. It comes from a 2004 Crown Vic police interceptor and everything. It's currently installed in my old Ford pickup truck here. So anyway, I started getting a gasket, or started getting a little bit of a coolant leak, and so I finally got around to taking it apart, and found that the gasket was leaking from right here. As you can see, we got a rubber O-ring. Well, it's not, except for it's not an O. And this little section, the inside part, crumbled away, just kind of rotted away. I found the piece when I was removing everything, but and it just fell apart. So what happened is, because there was nothing to hold the inside part of the gasket in, it started coming inwards and allowed the coolant to go out through the backside and leak out. The entire valley was full of water. It was pretty bad. And I'd just been running a little bit of water in there because I knew it had a little bit of a leak for a while, and all of a sudden it just got much, much worse real fast. Quickly deteriorated. So, the situation that most people face is, okay, what kind of intake? You can buy a used intake. You can get a used intake that are perfectly fine, allegedly. Around about $100 or so off of eBay. That's usually a shipped price. I think I've seen them for cheaper. I've seen them for a lot more. It seems like $100. You can also buy the Dorman. Now, I've seen a lot of people really not like the Dorman. The Dorman goes cheap. They don't use these pressed-in metal bosses. They opt instead for pre-drilled holes and sheet metal screws. It's a lot fucking cheaper, lower quality in my opinion. There's also a couple of aluminum intakes. I believe most of the stuff for the 2-valve Mustang will work, but it's got to be the PI version, not the and not and it has to be the 2-valve for the 2-valve heads. The reason why is I understand the ports are shaped different. I don't really know. I am not a master of the 4.6 Ford performance engines or anything like that. But as I understand that the shape of the ports here are totally different. They'll still bolt up, but it's not going to quite work right. So, me being a cheap fuck that I am, because I've been known to be a cheap fuck in my life, I've opted for another direction with this. What I'm going to attempt to do is a free solution. Step one, I'm going to cut these flanges off right here, or these little, I'm going to call it a riser, spacer, whatever, as part of the intake. I'm just going to cut it off flush with this, flush over here with the shape, and then bolt the intake manifold back on. For the crossover here fits basically something like that. I got bolts on underneath it, so it's probably not going to sit perfectly well. But my idea here is that I don't think it actually needs to be anything more. Now, I have a slight concern. I'm going to basically put this on here straight metal to metal. It will require the removal of, hold on, I'm trying to shoot a video on my own here. This little section right here, which if you flip it over, there's nothing there. It's just a part of the casting. So you just take that little part out right there, which will allow it to clear this boss on the head. And it should just drop straight down. As you can see, you just need to take out that little bit right there. And the bolt hole line's right up there. And do it flat. I'll just make a flat gasket and see if it works. I think it basically will. The only That part bothers me only in one spot, in that there's only one bolt hole on this side, and that's right here. So there's no bolt hole over on this side to help seal this gasket up. I'm going to make a gasket myself and then RTV it. I think it'll work. I don't see too much issue. This one has only two right here and here. Again, if this doesn't work, the little bit I trim off of this aluminum here, or wherever the hell it is, right at this corner, is not going to make a difference. It'll still be a usable part in case I put a used intake on here or I go some other route. The second part of this is this right here. Worst case is it leaks and I have to buy another intake anyway, which guess what? I got to do that any fucking way. Looks like a factory OEM one is around $225, and the Dorman cheap one, which is I guess not as good, is only about $175 shipped approximately. Some places I think I've seen it once for $165. Here, let me pull my pressure washer a little out of the rain. It's a pressure washer, so it's meant to get wet, but still. Where I see an issue here, and I don't know if anybody else will see this, is when you cut these off, now you don't have anything holding, again, this side right here for either one of these two runners. The big issue I see with that is that it's a matter of how rigid this plastic is. If it's rigid enough to hold it firmly so that the gasket seals, it doesn't matter. I'm going to buy a brand new gasket set for the thing. I just don't like that it's not going to have this point right here to hold down. I don't see a solution around it. Just got to deal with it. So right here is the last of them, and this one's going to be free floating out. We'll see what happens. If it holds up and works and doesn't leak, great. If it does leak, I'll just buy another damn, intake manifold and move on. I'd really like to convert to one of the aluminum intakes, maybe perhaps from a Mustang or some other kind of option. Haven't really looked into it, but I think that could be pretty awesome. We'll see. So I'll post an update to this video once I have a solution and see if it, just to let people know what happened and what worked and what doesn't work. Once again, as always, it's a rainy day here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. It's raining like hell. Peace out, bitches.